Well, folks, welcome to one more edition of Politics and Random. Egberto, Willies, your host. Thank you so kindly for being a part of the show. We are going to have a great show for you today. Welcome aboard, everybody. Welcome aboard, everybody. So far, it seems like people on Twitter are beating out the people on YouTube. Come on, YouTube. Come on in. We need more of you. More of you. More of you. Anyway, folks, please remember the first thing to do is to give us a thumbs up. To get us started, give us a thumbs up, and not only a thumbs up, but also give us a share. Will you share either on Twitter, Facebook, or YouTube? That'll kind of help our numbers in real time. E2247 is in the house from all over the place. Paul Fleming is in the house from Atlanta, Georgia. Lee Grant is in the house from Montgomery County. Bridge MCP is in the house from Binghamton, New York. Melanie Keelan is in the house from Barcelona, Spain. We also have Michael Rudnan in the house from Brooklyn, New York. And we have Yvette Avery Herod, Atlanta, Georgia, our beautiful I love Yvette. Yvette makes me feel great about the worker movement because she is right in the middle of it and make sure that it keeps on going. All right, let's start with your stuff, if you will. We'll start with your stuff. But let's go ahead beforehand and see what I got here. Poland is investigating the killing of the Polish national on suspicion of murder in the 7 WC Cade workers killed by an Israeli Elbit Herms 450 drone strike in Deir al-Bala Sunday night. Yvette Averhard says, good afternoon, PDR Pasi. Michael Rodin says, Egberto, got your book in the mail today. Gonna be a while until I get a chance to read it. Been really into Magicraft video game. Totally hooked. Rodnin, you're going to play that game instead of reading my book? I'm kidding, brother. I'm kidding. It's easy to read, though. It's only 103 or 104 pages, and they read quick and some good experiences in there. I think you're going to like the book. Check it out. All right. Let's see what else we got here. Para ver. Bridge MCP says, Egberto, ever hear this? So I can't go into details, but a person hung up a different flag than the United States flag. No flag is above the U.S. flag except 2 instances, one being the UN flag at the building. I knew it had to be some right-wing thing, but it took me a while to find out. I knew it was called the civil flag, which was a legit thing way back during and after the Revolutionary War. Not anymore. It seems Article 5 years old. Learned to spot the secret signals of far-right sovereign citizens. A surprising number of Americans are caught up in the throes of a fringe anti-government conspiracy theory. That's been going on for years, though, years and years. Almost immediately after it came out that alleged Waffle House shooter Travis Rankin had self-identified as a sovereign citizen. Mark Pitvakich started getting phone calls. He's an expert at the Anti-Defamation League Center on Extremism, who's been studying the far-right clique for a quarter of a century, mastering the ins and outs of the complex conspiracy theory that grounds their beliefs. So, for example, sovereign citizens believe that if you sign something or if you get a fishing permit or a hunting permit or a driver's license or something like this, that you are actually entering into a contract with the illegitimate government. They give you some sort of privilege and in turn you surrender your sovereignty. And once you do that, you have to follow all of the laws, rules, regulation, taxes, court orders, everything. Yeah, but I mean, it's funny. I mean, they none of this stuff they think through very well, right? Because the mere fact that they're riding on a road built by all of us taxpayers mean that they're, using the resources of the state. But again, these people don't think very well. They just have these fringe beliefs and they go on with it. And, we have a whole industry that profits from it. And those who are profiting from it don't even believe in all this crap, Anyhow, continuing with the program, we have para ver, Elbit, Sims, Herms, 450 drones, and other paraphernalia are what U.S. buys from Israel to do the border security by Homeland Security and other national, state, and local agencies through the U.S., not only on the border. All right. Eric Hayes is in the house. He's from Atascocita, and Kingwood, Texas. Egberto, this is flag. If you don't know it, I don't. Let me see if I know that flag, or if I've seen the flag before. No, I have not seen that before. That I guess that is the rebel flags, the ones that these sovereign citizens like to fly, I guess. Well, let me go ahead and put that up for you, Bridge MCP, so that our audience gets a chance to see it. If I can get to put it there, I think it's there now. Folks, if you want to see what that flags look like, there it is. There it is. Kind of ridiculous, huh? I mean, you wonder about these people sometimes. You wonder. Anyhow, continuing, we've got Eric K says, sorry to hear about Twain. I don't know who Twain is. Let me see if that is something to put on the screen here. I don't know. Oh, about Taiwan. I'm so sorry, Eric. I think you're like me, kind of dyslexic, and flip those things. It didn't even compute to me that it could have been Taiwan. I was just reading it literally. Anyhow, yeah, it is sad. 9 people so far that I understand have died thus far. Our condolences go out to them, and we hope things get better rather quickly. El Senor Hayes. We also have Michael says NBC News, Biden outraged by Israeli strike that killed air workers. The president's statement, his first comments on the deaths of 7 World Central Kitchen humanitarian workers included some of the strongest criticism of Israel. Netanyahu's war crimes continue piling up. Outrage is expected, but how long will President Biden's aid this horror? End the arms shipments and UN support. I think, I'll be honest, I am tired of hearing how mad Biden is. I don't care how mad Biden is. There are 33,000 or more dead Palestinians, dead human beings, and constantly throwing your hands up in the air as if you're impotent and saying, oh, I am mad that Netanyahu is still assassinating people in Gaza. I am so mad. Well, I am mad of a lot of things, but I do something about it when you're mad. And you have the power as the president of the United States and a whole lot more powerful than Netanyahu to do something about it. You have the power, Mr. President, to do that. And it is shameful. It is abhorrent. It is a war crime on Netanyahu, and you are complicit in not giving Israelis the notion that, look, it either stops or we stop our support. But we are not going to be complicit in murdering people. We are not going to be complicit in the fact that we sent them more 2,000-pound bombs when they bombed the whole hell out of Gaza already, and we're still giving them 2,000-pound bombs to do more damage and kill more kids, more women, more innocent people. More innocent people are dying than anybody who they claimed are terrorists. And the fact of the matter is, we know that a lot of the people Israel claim are terrorists are just people they don't like. The genocidal freak that is Netanyahu needs to be stopped. Genocidal freak. That's what he is. No humanity in that man, and no humanity in those who are carrying out those orders as they are. No humanity. A dead body is a dead body is a dead body. A dead human is a dead body, just like any other human being. All right, let's see. But it says being flown above U.S. flag tells you something. Yeah, it says that they believe they have precedence or supersedence, right? Michael says, Eric, one of the main points of gun laws is that if someone is caught with an illegal gun, they go to prison. True. Mr. B is so mad. Well, it is under his watch, just like Ukraine. You're right about that, Mr. Hayes. And the difference between Ukraine and Israel is Ukraine was attacked, and we are supporting the people who were attacked, right? We are supporting the people who were invaded. Yeah. I mean, I don't necessarily support war, but we can have an excuse for Ukraine. But Israel Yeah, Israel, there was a terrorist attack with 1,200 people that were murdered terroristically by these people from Hamas. Go after them. Don't decimate building after building after building. We should take rebuilding of Gaza out of the budget of the treaty that we have with Israel and Egypt, where I think we have to give Israel about $3 billion a year. We should rebuild Gaza with those monies and call it a war crime on Israel, while we have to use that money to rebuild. In other words, from the treaty standpoint, we pay it to Israel, and then we force Israel to pay it to rebuild Gaza for all the damage that they're doing in Gaza. The destruction after destruction, the killing after killing, the maiming after maiming. Don't believe your eyes. Believe your eyes. Okay? It's not lying to you. Look at Gaza and look at Tel Aviv, not very far apart. Decimation. You can't find that kind of decimation in Israel. You cannot. You know why? Because it doesn't happen. It's an asymmetric war. They just and what did they just do? They just confiscated another 2,000 acres in the West Bank to build more settlements. If people don't understand what's going on here, Israel just blew up a consulate in where was it? In one of the Arab countries, an Iranian consulate. Israel is trying to get us committed to a war we don't want or need. So they're doing all kinds of externalities to force our hands because they think we won't let them damage Israel. We have to get smarter than this, people. We got to get smarter. All right, let's see. Para ver. Most of the people who Israel called terrorists were just people in the wrong place at the wrong time. Israel has kill zones where they exterminate anyone who walks into it. Democracy now. Israel creates kill zones in Gaza where soldiers are ordered to shoot and kill everyone. That's what genocide looks like. Tammy Jansen, welcome to Politics and Right. She says it's the Republicans in Congress. They vote against arms for Ukraine and vote against not giving arms to Netanyahu. Vote them out. Vote blue. I agree. Bridge MCP says, Egberto Willies, it's my friend, neighbor's son, but he put it up when putting up his mom's flag, told her it was okay to do, and he's a vet like his father. Also a maggot off the grid nut. Sounds like an off-the-grid nut, but, there's not much you can do about that. It's their property. Let them do whatever they want to fly on their property. If they want to fly, I'm not going to say that. All right, let's see. Michael Radin says, 2/3 of the people Israel has killed were women and children. United Nations press release, more than 25,000 women and children killed in Gaza. U.S. Defense Secretary. It's shameful. It is utterly shameful. Anyway, folks, I'm taking calls. I don't have. I have one older video to show, but I also have 4 articles that I want to go over. But likewise, I would love to get folks to call in today. 281-823-7747. Again, that is 281-823-7747. Who'll call and tell me what you want to talk about? Una vez más lo voy a repetir, es el 281-823-7747. Hablamos el español aquí también. Si quieren llamar a decir lo que sea, Maywood is in the house. Welcome aboard, brother Maywood. So please go ahead, folks, and give us a call. 713, what is 281-823-7747. We are taking calls right now for anyone who wants to call in and make themselves heard or have anything to say. Una vez más, 281-823-7747. Okay, I don't have anybody yet, so what I'll do is I'll pull up the article that I really want to start with, and it has to do with Robert F. Kennedy, but I got to bring the thing up first. If I don't get it up in time, oh my God, no lo puedo encontrar. I'm going to find it right this minute, and I'm about to get there now. Let's go to RFK. The title of the article that I wanted to bring up is actually a Washington Post article. I'm going to put it on the screen. It says, RFK voters span the political spectrum, but they agree on disliking Biden and Trump. Robert F. Kennedy has found an opening amid Trump's and Biden's unpopularity, attracting Sanders liberals, DeSantis conservatives, and voters in between who are dissatisfied with another matchup between these two presumptive nominees. And it starts out by saying, Chris Nelson, a Florida DJ and social media influencer, voted twice for Donald Trump, but 41-year-old said he won't again because of the coronavirus mandates during Trump's presidency. Tony Vicinguerra, a 34-year-old former supporter of Bernie Sanders, said he thinks President Biden is too old and propped up by the Democratic Party establishment, so much so that he would rather see Trump back in the Oval Office. Now, that's nuts, but we'll let that stand for now. Jessica Silore, 31, a Michigan mom of two from a family of Democrats, said she rejects Trump, yet can't imagine voting for Biden again when he hasn't done enough to ease inflation. I'm passionate about not Trump, she said, and I'm not passionate about Biden. These three voters are part of a large and politically diverse group of Americans who are enthusiastic about a Trump Biden, who are unenthusiastic about a Trump-Biden rematch in November's election. A growing number of them are considering a third-party option, Robert F. Kennedy. The independent presidential candidate with a famous last name has attracted the attention of voters from across the ideological spectrum who are hungry for an alternative to the presumptive Democratic and Republican nominee. Kennedy, an environmental lawyer and first-time candidate, is widely known for his opposition to coronavirus vaccines and the falsehoods he spread about them, but his overall policy views are less established, allowing his supporters to see in his candidacy what they want to see. Recent interviews with 26 voters from at least 5 states interested in Kennedy offer a glimpse into a broad coalition he's assembling, from far-left voters intrigued by his Kennedy lineage and environmental record to far-right supporters aggrieved by government-mandated public health measures. What they have in common is a desire for a president other than Trump and Biden. I'm going to stop there for now. The person who says, Tony Viceda, who said, or rather, for Chris Nelson, who said, a Florida DJ who said, I won't vote for Trump again because of the coronavirus mandate. That speaks volumes. The mandates came out, yes, under Trump, even though, a lot of these folks didn't particularly support it. But if you are not supporting Trump for the mandates and not supporting Biden for, well, you didn't quite say, I am suspect of your thinking process. Now, Tony Vicinguerra says he was a supporter of Bernie. And he says Biden is too old and propped up by the Democratic establishment, so you will feel more secure with Donald Trump. You don't mind having a Donald Trump. And then I ask you to go down what you think Donald Trump is going to do differently, or rather do better than however Biden is doing right now. How is it going to make a better life for you? Specifically. But Jessica concerns me because she says, I'm a mom from a Democratic family that rejects Trump, yet cannot imagine voting for Biden again when he hasn't done enough to ease inflation. Now, that is the one that hurts me the most. Because first of all, you think you're going to vote somebody in Trump to solve a problem that ultimately he started when we started imposing all these tariffs immediately on China, who supported corporations that did all the wrong things, that created a short-term supply chain issue, that inflate the price of oil as we had Saudi Arabia cut the production of oil to keep the prices high. And this is why earlier on this morning's show on KPFT, I spoke about democracy needing a certain level of an educated population. Because what Jessica Silore is saying comes from somebody who actually does not understand little to anything, not only about politics, but about economics. When she says Biden has not done anything about inflation, let's be clear here. Biden is not the one to look at for solving the inflation problem. That's not something any president can do if they don't provide policies that are inherently inflationary, as did Trump when he threw tariffs on to products coming in from China. Remember, inflation is simply the increase in prices of a product. And the only people that have ultimate pricing control of that product are the individual corporations who price these products. They choose how much to charge for every product that they sell. And they look at the markets and determine how much they want to take away from you from that particular product that they sell. Now, when Trump put on a tariff on all Chinese goods, what he said is, well, I am taxing China. That is a lie. He is taxing you. How? By those companies who were selling those Chinese products on tariffs. You paid for that tariff with the increase in price of the products that were tariffed. So whereas Trump could help inflation, or rather create inflation by imposing a tariff, that's not something Biden did. The increase in inflation during Biden was caused by the ineptitude and greed of the private corporations. How? Number one, they raised prices because they could. They decided that they weren't going to cut the dividends from the people. They weren't going to cut their executives' pay. So therefore, if there's a bit more tariffs, they'll pass that on directly to the people. But second, these very smart business people, and I say that in quotation because inherently business people are not smart. They just know how to make money by all means necessary. What they did is they decided to create something called just-in-time inventory. JITI is what it's called for short, JITI. And what JITI did is says, as that ship is crossing the Atlantic, or as that ship is crossing the Pacific, when it gets to the port in LA, or it gets to the port in Baltimore, or it gets to the port in Houston, at the time that it unloads that truck, that ship, and puts the stuff on the truck, just in time, that product gets to the factory just in time for us to make the product. So there is no inventory to maintain, but that assumes a flow of a product coming in directly from China. That negates the possibility of a hurricane blowing up a ship. That eliminates the possibility of a pandemic that slows down manufacturing from your manufacturers overseas. All these things that just-in-time inventory created by these geniuses meant that as soon as that ship couldn't leave a port because it was empty because China closed down for a month or so, you could get no product to continue building here in the United States. Whose fault is that? It's not the fault of us. We wanted them to maintain enough inventory that it could take, if there's going to be a delay in China, we could at least start manufacturing certain things in Costa Rica, even here in Appalachia or anywhere else. All right? But no, these geniuses that runs corporations who get bonuses. Remember, Boeing just recently crashed 2 planes because of their ineptitude, and not only crashed 2 planes, a door just blew up, a tire just fell off. All these things because they wanted to cut costs, and so their examination of the planes and so forth, on testing of the plane was deficient. And guess what happened? As the CEO or as the president of the company was encouraged to leave, he left with over $40 million. So he was a failure and he left with a lot of money. Does that happen to you? But many of you support this corporatocracy where you pay and they make. Anyway, so supply chain was one of the issues that created inflation caused by the corporatocracy, yet you paid. What else caused inflation? The false increase in oil. And by the way, once you increase the price of oil, just about the price of everything else goes up. It costs more to bake bread. It costs more to make fertilizer. It costs more to do all these things because we are an oil-dependent economy. So once you inflate the price of oil, which is what the oil companies did, everything else increased in price, not because of Biden. In fact, Biden reduced the possibility of higher interest by opening up the oil reserves, forcing the price of oil down because he flooded the market with oil that Saudi Arabia took off the market and that our political being kept off the market in Venezuela and other places. You see, all of this ties in, people. But when Miss Jessica Silorey made that statement that she made, what she didn't understand is the economics. She didn't understand the politics, and she did not understand that the inflation was caused by the ineptitude and greed of our corporate beings, or corporations, the execs at our corporations. So don't blame Biden, blame the corporations. As Richard Wolff would say, they can bring inflation to zero immediately if they so choose. Let me show you how mentally enslaved we are. There are some with the price with California giving a $20 minimum wage, right? They're saying, "Oh my God, we shouldn't do that because it's going to increase the price of the McDonald's burger, and the people, the middle class and poor people who buy the McDonald's burger are going to have to buy more." Notice these mentally enslaved folks never say, "Wait a minute, the McDonald's worker works, the middle class person works. What about taking that small hit? Because the employment cost to McDonald's is less than 25% of their total cost, right? So if their total cost, their employment cost is less than 25%. So it's just a few pennies per item that the prices would go up. I mean, it may take off 50 cents from a dividend or 20 cents from the dividend that you're going to pay the rich people. Why don't we ever say, let's let the rich people for a change, who are stakeholders as well, let them take the hit. They're sitting down at their pool as you work for them to give them a dividend. So let them take the hit. Let them pay for more of the employment picture because they deserve it. You know, they've been ripping the employees off for several decades. When inflation goes up faster than wages, the shareholders are stealing from the worker. And again, critical thinking. We don't teach that a lot. Whenever, and I repeat, listen to this, people. Whenever inflation goes up faster than wages, that is grand theft by the shareholders and the executives. Why? Because they continue to get a larger profit from paying less, even in an inflated market. It's grand theft by the upper classes. So they pay less in taxes because a lot of their monies are capital gains, and you pay more. We have to wake up. So people like Tony Vicinguerra, people like Chris Nelson, people like Jessica Silorey, we have to educate them. We have to educate them. All right? In recent polls, Kennedy has attracted a sizable share of voters. 13% said they would pick him compared to 39% for Trump and 38% for Biden, according to a March 21st Quinnipiac poll. Patrick Muir, director of independent Monmouth University Polling Institute, whose survey has shown similar trends, said Kennedy's stance on issues are not well known by the electorate. I mean, the guy is a nutcase. I'm sorry. Kennedy is a nutcase whose family is not even supporting him, right? But what can I say? Barbara Wills is in the house from Michigan. Welcome, Barbara, as well as Troy Astro. Welcome aboard, Troy. Anybody else came? Lee Grant is also in the house. Welcome aboard, folks, and welcome to Politics Done Right. So again, folks, here is our marching orders for your friend. I mean, I am very nice to anybody, and everybody has a right to their own vote, right? But I also, if I have friends or people that I care about, I ask them what is their ultimate goal, their ultimate outcome. And the way I'm able to bring them back to making a sensible vote for Biden, noting that first, if they honestly believe that Kennedy can win, then got to leave their vote alone. But if Kennedy does not get onto enough ballots to win the Electoral College, inherently, before you even vote, you know that it's an impossibility for the guy to win. And a protest vote, in effect, from a privileged person, and the reason I say privilege is there are a lot of people who understands that it's a protest vote, and they're voting it. They don't care because if Trump wins or Trump loses, their economic situation is probably okay. They don't have any daughters that may need women's health care, abortion. They don't have any kids. They may have all their money is already stashed away in the 401k. They may have a good job that is not dependent on politics and likely won't be affected whether Trump wins or loses. That's a privilege many have. They would not be dependent on any programs that Donald Trump is likely to cut. But when you are making your vote, to all my friends that are giving Kennedy a look, you should be thinking about your vote being solely for you. Look, I'm a very small business now. Was much larger before, very small in just having a media program that you all support. I could say, well, you know what? More than likely, there are a lot of tax advantages that I am probably going to get. Well, not this year, because this year we didn't even break even. But there's a lot of tax things that some people could get, right? That Trump would be good for. But in the aggregate, look at how it would affect your mother, your father, your brother, your sister, your neighbor. And so your vote is not only for you. Your vote is really for what you want out of society. And when you make that vote solely to make you feel good that you stuck it to him, I know he's not going to win, but I want to stick it to Biden to let Biden know the discontent. Here is a message to you. Biden does not give a damn. Biden does not give a damn. Biden doesn't care about you. Biden doesn't care about me. Trump doesn't care about you. Trump doesn't care about me. If either one of them loses, they're going home millionaires. Either one loses, they are going home millionaires and set for life. This is just a power and ego thing for both Biden and Trump. Doesn't matter to them. But the ultimate person in power and what they are willing to sign into law and what they're willing to pass makes a difference. When I vote for Biden, I am not voting for Biden, the Israeli apologist, the complicit in Gaza. That's not who I'm voting for. When I vote for Biden, I am voting for the policies that Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Ilhan Omar, Aliana Presley, and all the Ottoman and all these people are going to get effected into law because Biden has shown a willingness to pass these laws that not even Obama was able to pass. That is where educating our brothers and sisters is important. That is why this is important. Do not think that voting for Biden is somehow a vote for Biden the person. Voting for Biden is a vote in the interest of your mother, your father, your brother, and anybody who are going to benefit from policies that a lot of our friends in Congress need to be passed. That's what you're voting for. That is what you're voting for. And that is what more of our Democratic spinners need to talk about. They don't need to be out there telling folks, well, Biden is a nice guy. Well, Biden is better than Trump. No, I'm not going there. Biden is allowing a genocide in Gaza. But I'm still voting for Biden because I'm not voting for Biden the person. I'm voting for all the policies that are going to come to pass if Biden is elected. That won't come to pass if Trump is elected. Okay, now let's go ahead and get back to some of you before I go to the next subject. And by the way, anybody can call in and talk. 281-823-7747. 281-823-7747. Michael Rudnin says, Egberto, let's see. Eric Hayes first says, Bidenomics has not worked for anyone except the rich that support his party. Of course, that's a lie. And we can actually numerically prove that. Look at your 401ks, people. Not that I care about that because the stock market is a fraud, but even in a fraudulent environment, the guy has done good for the average worker. Anyway, not only that, look at the employment picture, 3.1% unemployment. Oh my God, it's the best in the last 50 years. Oh, but it's hurting people, So anyway, we're not even going to go there. Breed MCP says, spoken like a true right winger, unable to learn, open the eyes nor the brain, so they don't actually think, they just repeat what they hear. Exactly. We have to start teaching people how to think again. Critical thinking. But the right wing wants to keep people dumb. That's why they burn books. That's why they try to get books out of school. Egberto from Michael Rudden. Most conservatives have economic grievances, but those very same conservatives don't realize that it's Republicans and corporations that have made the economy worse for them. Republicans only idea of the economy is tax cuts for the filthy rich and their mega corporations. And don't forget their mega churches who don't pay taxes at all, while those corporations are scoring record profits by raising prices above and beyond inflation rates. Trump's other bad idea is high import taxes via protectionist tariffs, which would only serve to hit conservatives in the pocket. But despite this, conservatives consistently refuse to understand how greedflation works against them. Then misplace the blame. And the corporations laugh at them and call them stupid. Trump has been heard behind the curtains calling his own constituents stupid. But what can I say? I don't call them stupid. I call them, they need to listen to politics done right and learn. All right, let's see. Monetary policy primarily involves changing interest rates to control inflation. Governments, through fiscal policy, however, can assist in fighting inflation. Governments can reduce spending and increase taxes as way to reduce inflation. Again, all the government is doing is control. They always choose, when they raise inflation, That's taking money from the average person to reduce supply. To reduce demand. When people talk about increasing the interest rates to control inflation, that's another way of harming the middle class and the poor. Again, they always want us to pay the price to solve inflation, pay the price to solve all the things the corporations do. The only reason the Fed's increasing the interest rates help inflation is that it reduces demand. And as soon as the corporations see demand is reducing, they reduce prices. So guess what? What we really need to do is simply tell the corporations, you want to keep the price high? Go for it. We'll just tax the difference out of the economy and give it to the people who spend. And if you decide to reduce the amount of products you supply, we will have other corporations come into existence to compete with you. You see, we need a government that plays hardball with the terrorists, the economic terrorists. That's what we need. A government who goes up just as hard against the economic terrorists, which are the corporations, right, that keep raising your prices. And I bet things would get into order right away. The reason we had no inflation for decades is they could not find a reason to create inflation. Now, a pandemic, a supply chain issue, and all of this gave them all the excuses they need. But they forgot one thing. We're going to see the balance sheet and we're going to see their income statement. And we proved that there was no inflation. Katie Porter proved that the inflation rate was half what it turned out to be. And not only was it half what it turned out to be, but a lot of it was the fault of the corporations proper. But enough of the media isn't telling you that. So it keeps a lot of the people fairly, what can I say, not informed. All right, let's continue. Troy Astro says, we don't leadership classes in colleges anymore. Sad but true. Paul Fleming says, breaking news, the FCC will vote on restoring net neutrality. Yep. On April 25th, the commission will work on a Democratic proposal to restore net neutrality rules repealed under Trump. And I wrote an article about that. Go to Common Dreams, commondreams.org. Look up Egberto Willies at commondreams.org. I collaborated with an article that would move to amend, talking about net neutrality and what it really means. Check it out. It's an article several years old. And I think on Common Dreams, I did another article on. Anyway, check it out. Just look it up at commondreams.org. All right, let's see what else we got. Barbara Wills says she's hi from Michigan. Welcome, Barbara Wiltz. Who else we got here? Lee Grant says the sovereign citizen movement is not just right wing. SPLC notes members of Moorish groups and other Black Americans are taking up the ideas of the radical sovereign citizen movement. And you know what? It's funny because when those guys in Arizona, I don't remember, but when Bundy went up against the government with guns, they hesitated without shooting. Let some Black folks get into that movement and see if the FBI and the not going to shoot to death. You know, we have to get smart here, people. You have to get smart. Madre carajo mío. All right, let's see what else we got here from Michael Rudnin. That is a conversation. Troy Astro says RFK is part of the Fitzgerald Kennedy family. He's not smart as his late dad or his late great uncle, JFK Sr. I know. Let's see what else we got here. Michael says, Egberto, Trump is already hundreds millionaire, on paper billionaire. Trump is running to delay or prevent incarceration from the 91 felonies. It's down to actually, I think, 88 or 87 felony charges and counting. If Trump is somehow elected, he's going to run a revenge campaign against his enemies while wiping his ass with the Constitution. I agree. Mike C. says voting for Biden is hurting mostly middle class and lower class Americans. Unfortunately, what is important, the data just called you a liar. Completely a liar for making that statement. It's a false statement. All right, continuing. Troy Astra says, we want to vote in new blood in office. I do too. I'm tired of voting families or men older than the Pope. I agree. Under Biden, 60% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. Under Trump, it was 77% of Americans living paycheck to paycheck. Bidenomics made the economy better, but not yet good. Agreed. Let's see what else we got here. What else we got here? What else we got here? Para ver. Okay. Paul Fleming says ABC News. At a Grand Rapids campaign event, former President Trump said that he had spoken to the family of Ruby Garcia, a 25-year-old woman who was allegedly murdered by an undocumented immigrant. But Garcia's sister said Trump didn't speak with anyone from the family, and she criticized him for politicizing her sister's death. So it's kind of shocking seeing that he had said he had spoken with us, misinforming people on live TV. Ruby's sister, Marvi Garcia, said in an interview, "Yeah, we need to do that. We need to solve that problem." Para ver. I'm continuing here. Bree says, if people keep saying the same thing about you, believe them. Yeah, Al Bundy is who I'm talking about. All right, I'm scrolling down. If the Kroger-Albertson merger goes through, that combined company plus Walmart would control 70% of the grocery market in over 160 cities. Think grocery prices are bad now. Without competition, it would be a price gouging free for all. This is why the FTC is suing to stop it. That is from Paul Fleming. I agree with that 100%. Let's see what else we got here. All right. Paul Fleming says Latinos know what it looks like to have corrupt politicians like Rick Scott using that money that he actually took from Medicare, from the government. He's a thief, yeah, to buy the seat in the Senate and then use that seat for self-enrichment and self-gain. Democratic candidates for U.S. Senate Florida, former Representative Debbie McCarcel Powell alleges on the readout. Yep, I saw that. Let's see what else we got here. Hey, that Omlubfe Sole is a spam. Please kill that particular. Please. That they did that on Facebook. I need to give. Bridge, if you have access to it, please block that person. Thank you. I ask if you. I think you have access. Please block it. Let's see. All right. When Rump opens his mouth, you know he's lying. I know. Anyway, wow. My God, I didn't realize I could speak that long on this damn one topic. It's 3:51. All right, let's jump through the other quick topics real quickly. This Democrat is not scared about the election. I mean, it seems like he thinks like me. He said Simon Rosenberg was right about the congressional elections of 2022. All the conventional wisdom, the polls, the punditry, the fretting by fellow Democrats revolved around the expectation of a big red wave and a Democratic wipeout. He disagreed. Democrats would surprise everyone, he said again and again. There would be no red wave. He was correct, of course, as he is quick to remind anyone listening. These days, Mr. Rosenberg, 60, a Democratic strategist and consultant who dates his first involvement in presidential campaigns to Dukakis, the presidential president, he said, no, in world of Democratic bedwetters, to reprise the phrase used by David Plouffe, a senior political advisor of Barack Obama, to describe Democratic frauders, Mr. Rosenberg is the voice of, well, whatever the opposite of bedwetters these days. He even has a Substack newsletter offering insights and daily reassurance to his worried Hopium Chronicles, the name taken from what pollsters Nate Silver suggests he was ingesting back in 2022, which means Nate Silvers was wrong, right? I talked to Mr. Rosenberg about what he feels like to be an outlier in his own party and why he sleeps so well at night while so many of his fellow Democrats are plotting their moves to Paris after November. This conversation has been edited to clarify it, and check it out. I have a link to it in the blog that I'm going to put up. But by the way, folks, I am in agreement. I was saying this before he said it. And here's the deal. I still think there will be a Democratic landslide, not just on the federal level, but on the state level this coming November. I think women are going to surprise us to no order come November. Not only are they going to surprise us in the national races, but in the local races, they are going to come out of the weeds. The real majority are going to come out in the weeds. Mark my word on that. Stop fretting and stop doing the job. and start doing the job. And that job means sharing politics done right to everybody. That means sharing TYT to everybody. That means sharing all kinds of progressive stuff around to inform people so that we don't have people making silly statements like those who the reason that those people gave for potentially supporting RFK. But yes, Simon Rosenberg, I agree with you wholeheartedly. Okay, the other subject I want to cover is Nebraska. This one is really quick. Nebraska, unlike 48 other states, they apportion their electoral votes by district, and whichever district wins, that electoral vote goes to the candidate. Right? I wish. Well, I shouldn't say I wish that, because as it turns out, with gerrymandered, with the districts as gerrymandered as they are, if that were to occur around the entire country, the winner of the presidential race would look similar to what Congress looks like, except that DC has electoral votes. I think DC. What is it? DC has electoral votes, I believe, right? Actually, no. DC does not have electoral votes. But with Nebraska having 2 senators, that would still present a problem. So, no, I want it to be popular vote altogether. Tom C. He says he hopes that I'm right. Tom, I will bet the tiny little tip of my fingernail here that I'm right. I'm only right. Yeah, that's what I corrected myself, CSAC. I am only right if I was mixing up primaries. I'm only right if we do the job. And doing the job means getting our message out. Getting our message out. That's what it is. That is what we need. It's funny. Democracy is now called tyranny, right? Because it's not the tyranny of the majority. The bill, for those of you who don't understand the Constitution or the intent of the Constitution, let's talk about the tyranny of the majority. The tyranny of the majority was mitigated by the Bill of Rights. There are certain things that should be democratic and certain things that should be inalienable rights. The Constitution's 10 Bill of Rights protects your inalienable rights. I'm from Panama. I had to learn all of this to become a United States citizen. Why is it that you, as a born United States citizen, doesn't know this? Why don't you know this? Why is it that you don't know this? Majority should rule, and your inalienable rights should be protected. Otherwise, you're talking about the tyranny of the minority. The tyranny of the minority. You are saying that anything that Democrats want need a supermajority, but things that Republican wants just need a minority. That is sick. The Bill of Rights is already in the Constitution to protect the minority. Punto y final. And I was born in Panama. Why is it that I know this and you don't? And you speak your glory, glory, hallelujah, my brother. You speak it like you're proud to be an American, and you don't want those damn immigrants over here. Yet these damn immigrants know more about your country than you do. Shame on you, my brother. I love you, but shame on you. Most of us that come over here, we study to be Americans. We study what it takes, how it builds. We study to live the American dream. And you who got the silver spoon in your mouth as you enjoyed the labor of others for free, you don't know your own Constitution. Come on, man. Anyway, my brothers and my sister, I know, Breach, you are from Ireland and you had to learn it to pass it. Yeah. You know, that's what folks don't understand. And we got to start shutting this baby down. The rest of the guys, you can go to politicsandright.com/newsletters. Please sign up. But anyhow, let's go ahead and close this baby down because we're almost done with it. I want to thank all of you, including you, Brother CSAC, You know, I really love all my folk, left or right. Love you all. But come on now, let's all grow up and understand this damn country. All right? All right, let's get busy. Please, please, please support the program. How can you support the program? If you are on YouTube, just click join and join through the YouTube channel. You become a PDR Posse member through YouTube. But there are other ways to support us. All the ways to support the program can be found where again? At politicsdoneright.com/support. politicsdoneright.com/support. Alternatively, you can join our Patreon, politicsdoneright.com/Patreon. Again, I repeat, politicsdoneright.com/Patreon. But if you really want to keep us going as well, think about this. Please continue to support us by going to our newsletter, politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. Look, let me first say, our newsletter is free. I want information flowing to everybody. That's why everything I do, I try to make it free. Even though I have to live, I have to support the internet. I got to buy all this stuff. Okay? But please support the program by becoming a paid member of the newsletter. Even though it's free, please consider becoming a paid member. Why? It supports all that we do. So go to politicsdoneright.com/newsletter to support the program via the newsletter. Please support us by buying our books. politicsdoneright.com/what again? Books. My latest books, Tribulations of an Afro-Latino Caribbean Man. Good book. A lot of folks already got it. Not enough to do anything with, but you know what I'm talking about. Anyway, I got to get out of here. My name is Egberto. Willies, this is Politics Done Right. Love you all. You know how this ends. I am what? What am I again? Out.
We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead. Number one, subscribe to our channel. And number two, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please join.